Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Blab and Bitch, a podcast where no topic is off limits and we always keep it real and raw. I'm your host, Bianca. Let's get into it. First of all, I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone. This is our New Year, New Me, New Year's resolutions episode. Before we really start to unpack that, I do want to talk about the new year being Jan 1 and rethinking resolutions. I've always found it super fascinating that in the middle of our winter season is when we've decided that this is where we want to make these big changes in our life and positive habits and whatever. It's just like, this is like our hibernation season. Like, this is when everyone's depressed, it's cold outside, you're lacking motivation. Like, this seems like the worst possible time to be setting new goals for the year. So I just find that really funny. If anything, to me, I feel like the spring season is when it would make more sense to set new goals because it's, like a rebirth. It's, spring cleaning and the weather's warming up and everyone's mood's starting to get a little bit better. Like, personally for me, when it's the winter season, the last thing I want to be doing is thinking about like setting new goals for myself. I don't know. For me, this is just, the winter has always been a harder season for me. And I think it is for most people. I feel like I lack motivation in the winter. I feel more creative in the winter, which I love, but I lack the motivation to really go out and implement any changes. So I do want to say that, from one human to another, this is a weird time to be implementing changes. We also have, a crazy change in presidency going on right now. There's potentially a TikTok ban going on right now. Like, there's a lot of weird change in the air right now, and adding in a whole bunch of other changes at the same time seems chaotic and not very thoughtful. I always want to say, like, be gentle with yourself around this season. I think that it's crazy that this is when we're hoping to implement all of this radical change into our lives. And I think a lot of reasons people end up being disappointed is because they set these really high expectations for themselves that just aren't really feasible or tangible. We kind of have this all or nothing mindset where it's like, unless I'm doing 75 hard and dry January and all or nothing, like, it's not good enough, and like I didn't hit my goals and whatever. And it's like, whoa, slow down here. You don't need to set these crazy lofty goals. If anything, it's like little tweaks to our daily habits that are going to make the most profound change, because when you break it down into bite-sized pieces, it doesn't seem so large and overwhelming. It's like when you look at a puzzle and you have just a blank slate and all of these pieces, that can seem super overwhelming. But then when you start to really break the puzzle down and you go, okay, this section has a lot of pinks, so I'm gonna sort all the pinks today. And this section has a lot of blues and we're gonna do blues tomorrow. Then it seems much more manageable to tackle the project once we break it down into little pieces. So for me, with my fitness journey, I've never been a morning person. Since I was born, I've never been a morning person. And here I am now, and I teach 7 a.m. Pilates like 4 days a week. And it's like, okay, well, when you just hear that or see that and whatever, you're like, oh, like, she's just really disciplined and, she's all or nothing or whatever. But no, this took a lot of time and it took baby steps to get here. We all want to just see the end result, but we forget that there's such a process in getting there. And there's also a lot of beauty in that process. So like for me, for example, never a morning person. So I would start, like, I used to do like a noon class if I could, then a 10 a.m. class if I could. And then, week by week, I started to be like, okay, no, I want to be more productive. Like, I want to have a morning workout, but I know I'm exhausted if I'm challenging myself with this every day. So I started with, once a week, I was going to go to a 7 or an 8 a.m. class, and I was going to reward myself with a sweet treat after. And that way it's, using what's called like a habit loop. It's like, if I do this good thing that's my goal to do, then I reward myself with a little something that is going to get me to want to do that again. It's like training an animal, It's like you want your dog to sit, you train them to sit. When they sit, you give them a treat and you say, good boy. Humans, we're animals, we're basic, and it's honestly the same sort of thing. So for me, I just started with 1 day a week, 7 a.m. I would get my cute little sweet treat, my little matcha latte after, and then I started to see the positive results in getting up and starting my day and how much more time I had for my work and also just how much more energy I actually had. I thought I would be way more tired, but the opposite sort of happened where I was actually more energized throughout my day. So I think starting small, and maybe you're not going right into a fucking Pilates class. Maybe it's just going on a walk in the morning. It's just seeing the sunshine. It's like, it can be the smallest little things that you implement, but habits take time to change. And so it's baby steps here. So maybe your goal is to see the sun within the first hour of the day. It's like, okay, that seems feasible. So I'm going to wake up, and within the first 30 minutes of getting up, I am going to look out my window or go outside on a walk and just see the sun. This is a really great way to help regulate your clock, your internal clock. As soon as your body sees sunlight, it knows it's time to get up, it's time to start the day. So if you didn't already know that little tip and trick, it's a great way to get your body moving first thing in the morning. I also think it's really important to set an intention or set a goal that's not just about the actual task at hand. So like if the task at hand is I want to wake up and, do a morning Pilates class, like don't have the goal just being I want to wake up and do the Pilates class. Why do you want to do that Pilates class? Like, what is your intention? What is your reasoning behind? Because if you just have like a task, there's no real incentive to get you to do it. So you need to ask yourself the deeper question of like, why do I want to do this? So for example, your why could be, I want to feel stronger, or I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to have more energy. Like whatever it is, really get real with yourself about why you want to implement this change, because that will hold you accountable. That will actually make you show up versus, oh, I signed up for this Pilates class, I have to go, versus, oh, I came here because I wanted to feel stronger, so I'm gonna come and show up for myself. And I think that's a really big differentiator between, so when we say setting a goal, I think setting a goal is I want to be stronger. The task, is how we're gonna get there. So I'm gonna get stronger by taking a Pilates class, right? So it's less about the task and more about the intention behind the work that you're doing. So I encourage you to write down 3 intentions that you want to set for the new year and then go based off of that. Don't go based off of whatever you're consuming on the news and social media from an influencer you're following. And I know I'm doing the same shit on here, but I do feel like this is a better approach to, I need to get myself to the gym and do the 75 hard. It's like, okay, you can do that and that's great, but let's go deeper here and let's actually look at the why. Why are we doing this? So set 3 intentions for yourself for the new year and then go from there. I think we're really, really quick to want to see results, and results take so much time. It's literally everything in life. You're never going to see results instantly. And we live in a society where instant gratification is such a thing these days, and we consume bite-sized content that's literally less than 15 seconds because that's all that our attention span can handle, which is concerning in itself. But we expect the same thing with, you think about people on dating apps, you want the instant gratification of meeting up with someone, hooking up with them, done. Everything we do in our life these days on Amazon, I can order a package and it's on my doorstep the next day. So we're so attuned to wanting to see a result so quickly that we get discouraged and upset when we don't have a result instantly. And I think that's something that's challenging with the fitness world, especially in an era where Ozempic is becoming abused so much. It's concerning. And we don't really know the long-term effects. But what I do know is I have friends who either sell Ozempic or are doctors and they prescribe Ozempic. And it's a really concerning drug because it does affect your hormones. And your hormones are everything. It's how you function. And when you're altering your hormones, here's your being and how you go about your life and in the world. And I just don't think that there's enough studies out there yet. GLPs are such new drugs that it worries me. But again, it's back to this immediate results. Oh, let me go get a BBL. Let me go get liposuction. Let me take Ozempic. It's scary. We want these quick fixes, but it's always at what cost? There's always a cost. It's like we don't know what these hormone disruptors are really doing for us. So again, being able to be patient with yourself. I think for me, I played competitive tennis my entire life. And one of the biggest things for me was I was so hard on myself constantly. I would be in a private lesson with my coach, and this is something that has stuck with me and has helped me in every area of my life. It's crazy. And it was such a little thing, but I think that we can all use this. I'm super hard on myself. So if I hit a bad shot, I'd be like, oh, damn it. Like, come on, Bianca, like you can do better. And I would just get down and be upset and be hard on myself for not hitting a good shot. And then when I did hit a good shot, I would be like, fucking finally, it was just like the whole tone and demeanor behind it was very negative. And so it was this little shift of every time I would hit a good shot, my coach would literally make me pause and verbally say, yay me. And I laugh and I chuckle at it now because it's just such a simple thing, but it's like we create our own narrative in our head. And I was just so unnecessarily hard on myself for no reason. And it's so easy, again, when you're not seeing your results right away to be like, why is this not clicking? And why am I not seeing this yet? So a reminder to be gentle and to celebrate the little wins. When you do hit a good shot in tennis, or you do have a good day at work, or you do bring yourself to the gym that day, or you do feel like you're getting a little bit stronger, yay me. Or even if you don't feel like you're getting stronger, but you brought yourself on that walk that morning, you went and saw sunlight, whatever your goal or your intention is, the days that you do it, yay me. Even if you only did it one day of the week or one day of the month, yay me. You brought yourself there and you did that, and you should be proud of yourself. You should feel accomplished. You went outside of your regular routine to implement a positive change, and that is something to be proud of. Really slowing down and being able to look at your progress and know that you're not going to see crazy results in a day, in a week, in a month. It takes so much time, but to be able to celebrate those little wins when you're starting to see little differences, or you're just taking your first step diving into the pool, it's like, just be grateful and happy that you got yourself there. And just focus on the gradual improvements, not the overall be all end all, I also think there's something huge to be said for finding joy in movement and community. For me, I crave movement now. Like, I need movement. If I don't move, I am antsy and I am on edge. So there's something really, really beautiful about when you move your body that we naturally produce endorphins that make us feel happy. And that can kind of be like a drug as well. So I also think that fitness and movement can be addictive in that way because it does make you feel good, and it's a positive thing for you. For me, finding community was huge. I will say half of my friends at this point I've met through community, whether it be a yoga class, a sound bath, breath work, Pilates, whatever it is. I have made so many friends through these classes because you're surrounded by like-minded people who have same goals and intentions as you. So it's a really great space to create community. And again, if you don't have someone to hold you accountable, go to workout classes, talk to people. I'm sure you'll meet someone who's in the exact same position as you, especially given it's the new year. And this is when a lot of people are like, I'm going to, make these changes for myself. So I think just being able to put yourself out there and be open to connecting in whatever capacity that looks like is huge. For me, it's kept me going. It gets me excited to go. Now I'm friends with the instructors, so I look forward to taking their classes because I like their personalities. I also think it's important to talk about avoiding burnout, especially when you're starting something new. It's like baby steps, maybe 15 minutes of walking a day or 15 minutes of walking per week. Like, start small and work your way up, because if you try to go all in right away, you are going to burn out, because you're going from doing nothing to all of a sudden, like, you're going 0 to 100 real quick, and that's just not sustainable. You are going to be exhausted because your body is not used to that kind of movement, and all of a sudden you're just throwing yourself into it. So I think, again, being able to break it down into bite-sized pieces is the most sustainable way. Focusing on just the pink puzzle pieces today, then we'll focus on blue next week. You don't need to complete the puzzle in one sitting. If you're just getting into movement, maybe try out different things and see what sticks, see what you feel excited about. So maybe try a yoga class one time this week, try a breathwork class one time next week, go on a walk the following week, and just see what resonates and makes you feel your best and what type of movement genuinely excites you. And then once you find one thing that you actually enjoy doing, let's say it's yoga, you love yoga, then make that your consistent goal. Make that your intention. I love how yoga makes my body feel, so I'm going to bring myself to a yoga class once a week. Find movement, find the exercises, find these habits that you enjoy the most, and you'll be the most willing to actually go back to them and eventually create a habit out of that. For me, I love doing workouts with friends. I think it makes the experience so much more fun. It's a great way to bond and connect with others. So I suggest that. Like, if you can coordinate your schedule with a friend, for me, I'm always trying to go on a walk with a friend, and it's so much easier to hit, 10K steps a day or whatever your goal is with that. It's so much easier when you have someone to do it with. The time goes by faster. It makes it more enjoyable, which is going to make you go back and do it more. So having someone that can hold you accountable, whether it's a coach, a friend, whatever, this is a great resource to utilize. Accountability is huge. I also want to talk about collaboration over competition. I think it's so easy to get competitive in this space. Whether you're comparing yourself with the person next to you at the gym and they're lifting like 20 pounds heavier than you, or whether you're comparing yourself with the girl next to you in your Pilates class who is thinner than you, this is toxic. And unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society where basically since birth, we're taught to be competitive with one another. We're taught that being competitive is how you get to the top, and that we're here to climb a corporate ladder or climb whatever ladder it is and make the most amount of money or be the skinniest or the prettiest or build the most muscle or whatever it is. You do not need to be the best at anything. You just need to show up and do your personal best. And just showing up can be enough, okay? It really, really kills me how much comparison there is these days. And social media does not help that, because we're just constantly bombarded with whatever it is that you're hyperfixating on. It's going to show you more and more of that. So if you're really into looking at different Pilates girls, like, you're going to suffocate in that and you're going to feel down. And the reality of it is, one, you have no idea what those people are going through. We're all going through things. Two, you're making a superficial judgment on someone you know nothing about. And three, they could actually be looking at you and be saying the same thing about you. They could be like, wow, she has the best hair. It's like everyone has different things going for them. You don't need to be the best at everything. You really don't. And I think that it's hard to untrain our brains when this is what we've been taught forever, is that we have to perform and we have to be the best. And that's the only way to function in a society. It's crazy. For myself personally, every field I'm in is extremely competitive. Like, I create content. It's one of the most saturated markets these days. And I'm still a firm believer that there is room and space for everyone because everyone brings their own unique viewpoint. And we need that. We need new perspectives. And again, if you're showing up and you're just being yourself, that's enough. That is enough. I think about my career in the fitness realm. It's so easy to compare myself to instructors that have been doing this for 15 plus years and be like, oh, I'll never teach like them. I'll never have a body like them. I'll never have the persona that they exude when they teach. You know, it's like there's always something that you can get down on yourself for not having and compare to with someone that does have that. That's life. It's really important to take a look in the mirror and look at yourself and say, I am worthy and I am capable and I don't need to change. I just need to show up exactly as I am. And that is enough. And again, I think by bringing this more collaborative energy to a space, people are going to feel that. People can feel when you're being judgmental or you're feeling insecure or whatever. People can feel your energy. So obviously easier said than done. And I get it. If you're going into a new space, you're probably not going to feel super confident because you've never done it before. But how can you be friendly or collaborative in these spaces? You know, like maybe it's just saying hello to your neighbor. It'll make you and them both feel much more comfortable in the space. I try my best when I'm taking a class and I see someone that looks like they're struggling or it's their first time there. I try to make a conscious effort to say hello, introduce myself, and make them feel comfortable because I know if I was in their position and I knew no one and I was going into a brand new room, like that's what I would want, and it would make me feel so much more comfortable and so much more willing to want to come back. For me in my field, I'm all about collaboration. I love feeding off of other people. I love the back and forth, the energy flow of that. So in my field, I really love teaming up with other instructors and hosting events, whether it be someone leads 30 minutes of a yoga flow, I lead 30 minutes of a sound bath. I think it's so cool because it's just bringing together more like-minded people. It's bringing together community. And at the end of the day, it can be lonely, and having a sense of community feels so good. Same thing in the content space. I love collaborating with other content creators and influencers. It's one, nice to be surrounded by like-minded people. It makes you feel supported. But two, I feel like collaboration just breeds creativity. I think when you can bounce off with someone else, it's really cool what magic can happen there. So I am all about sharing the love. I also think this is a really great time to reflect on the past year and look how far you've come in 1 year, 365 days. And think about both the highs and the lows and the lessons that have inspired your growth. So ask yourself, what are 3 things that I'm most proud of? There is such beauty and power in reflecting because it can really help us see what we did over the past year, and it can help you find clarity in creating future goals on where you want to go. I also think it's important to show gratitude and what you learned from your setbacks, because again, it's easy to overlook that, but I'm sure that there were challenges and obstacles that you faced this past year. And at the end of the day, it comes down to showing up for yourself and overcoming those obstacles. So what were things that you overcame this past year? What were things that were really hard, but you made it through? For me, with my content freelance journey, things didn't really start to pick up for me until January 1 of 2024. So this has really been like my first full year of doing the content thing. And it's been a huge journey for me. I went from working in tech, making a ton of money, to doing this freelance thing and really taking a financial leap of faith here. And like I said, I started by receiving unemployment. That was a setback for me. That was a huge setback. And it was scary. And, it could have easily made me feel like I can't do anything and I could have been down on myself. But instead, I used that as an opportunity to be resilient and to push forward and be strong and create the habits and the change that I wanted to see that aligned with where I wanted to go and my goals for the future. So it's one of those things where you may think that you're taking a step back, but really it's going to propel you forward 2 more steps, 5 more steps, 100 more steps. I got trained to lead sound baths in April, and that was a big new change for me as well. And here I am coming up this new year, this January, I'm actually starting a residency at the Edition Hotel in West Hollywood. I will be leading a sound bath every single Sunday in their spa. That's amazing. And I would have never gotten here if I didn't quit my job in corporate America. If I didn't have setbacks, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I think it's so important to be able to look back and to see that. I would not be in such a happy place had I not quit corporate America to pursue my passions. So I am grateful for the challenges that I've overcome because it shows me just how much more I can carry, how much more I can take on, and how much more I'm capable of. It's like when you really push yourself, that's when it shows. That's when you see how much you can actually handle and how much you can hold and how much you can take. And I think we can always take a little bit more than what we think that we can. For me also, it was getting out of this competitive workhorse mindset. For me, it was being able to say, I can take a break and that's okay. I had kind of the opposite problem where I would go and burn the candle at both ends until I would crash and burn, and then I would get sick and have to take a week off. So for me, this past year really was all about rest. It was all about listening to my body and taking care of myself. And I feel like my body told me that corporate was not meant for me. My body told me that I needed to do a career of something I was actually passionate about. I needed to do something where money wasn't my end goal, but making an impact, doing something creative, and feeling authentic were the most important things to me. So kind of with that, my intentions were, I want to do something that's going to make a positive impact. I want to do something that's creative and scratches my creative itch. And I want to do something that I'm actually passionate about. And for me to get there, I had to take some really, really crazy leaps of faith. I had to trust that living authentically and living in my truth, the universe would provide, because I genuinely believe that. I believe that if you're doing what you're meant to do, there will be abundance always. And so I was really trusting that. I also think journaling is such a great tool. I have always been a journaler. It's always been like the best outlet for me since I was a child. I always struggled with anxiety, and as a kid growing up, I could never sleep at night because the wheels would always be turning. And so my mom got me into journaling. She got me a journal at a young age, and it was the best outlet for me. And through now, I journal every single day, and it is so cool to be able to reflect and to look back and see where I was, see how I was thinking, what I was feeling, and where I'm at now, and to kind of watch that journey of progression and what seemed like such a scary leap then, 1 year later, feels like the best decision I ever made in my life. So it's really cool to be able to have it come full circle. So I really implore you to look back and think about where you were a year ago. think about where you are now and just, as my tennis coach would say, yay me. You've come so far, sweetie. You should be proud of yourself. You did hard things this year, and you are resilient. So I want to do something a little bit different as we close out our episode today. And I want us to partake in a 5-minute meditation right here. So when you're ready, I want everyone to close their eyes and find a comfortable meditative seat, or if it feels good to lie down, I invite you to do so. Whatever feels good in your body, maybe starting to get some of the wiggles out, rocking side and side, rolling the shoulders back, rolling your neck around, taking whatever last little fidgets you need. We're going to do 3 rounds of breath work together. We're going to be doing what's called the box method. It's an inhale for 4, a hold at the top for 4, an exhale for 4, and a hold at the bottom for 4. When you're ready, you're going to expel all of the oxygen from your lungs. Inhale for 4. And hold. Exhale for 4. Whoosh. And hold. Bigger inhale this time. Inhale for 4. And hold. Exhale for 4. Whoosh. And hold. Last one. Biggest inhale yet. Inhale for 4. Sip in a little bit more oxygen. Exhale for 4. Let something go here. Audible sigh and hold. Keeping the eyes closed. Feeling connected to our bodies, our mind-body connection. I invite you to set an intention for your day here. It could be as simple as an I am statement. I am kind. I am loving. Or feel free to make it your own. Holding that thought in your mind's eye. Just breathing at your natural rhythm here. Bringing your palms to touch. Bringing your palms up to your third eye. Holding that thought, that intention for one more second. And then letting it go. Keeping the eyes closed, starting to invite some movements back into your body. Rolling through the wrists or the ankles, the fingers and the toes. Maybe from here, it's a gentle gaze at the floor. And then starting to blink the eyes back open. Do you feel a little different than when you went into this practice? It's crazy what just a few moments can do to regulate our nervous system, to calm us down, to center us. I invite you all to set aside a little bit of time to journal on a few of these key notes that we spoke to today. Looking back and reflecting on your past year, where you started, where you're at now. And then looking forward, what are 3 intentions that you want to set for your new year? Do you want to feel stronger in your body, in your mind? Do you want to connect with more people? Whatever it may be, take a moment to think on this, to sit on this, to write on this. And I encourage you to just let yourself free flow and free write if that feels good to you. Don't put too much pressure on having to stay in this structured box, and just see where your thoughts take you and go from there. You can always go back later and sort it out if you want to. Again, I so appreciate you all tuning in with me today. My name is Bianca, and I will see you all next month.